Hi friends, I'm Maira with VL Designs and I'm so happy to be back with another video tutorial for Archer and Olive as part of the Ambassador team. Today, I'm walking you through everything you need to know about Calliograph pens and I'll be sharing 10 fun and easy creative projects you can start doing right away. All the links to everything that I mentioned in the video will be in the description, as well as the free blog post and printable that I created to make it easier for you to create with the Calliograph pens. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe because that's a free way to support Archer and Olive and the amazing creators in the Ambassador team. Right, let's go ahead and dive in into creative projects with your Calliograph pens. Calligraphs are Archer and Olive brush pens. They're dual tip, and one side they have a broad tip, as you can see here. This one is large, and then on the other side they have a fine tip. The brush-like tip of these pens is going to allow you to have a different variety in sizes of the strokes, which means that depending on how much pressure you put, it depends on how wide or thin you're going to have your strokes. So for example here, when I was going up, I didn't apply any pressure, so that's why I have a thin stroke. And then the more pressure that you add to the tip, the larger you're going to have the stroke. That's something to know with the broad side of the brush pen. Now when we move to the fine side, you're going to have smaller traces, and even if you put a lot of pressure on the fine tip, the strokes are not going to be as large as with the broad side of the pen. Before I keep telling you about these pens, don't forget that you can use the code VD10 at checkout to save 10% of your order. And now here's a quick demo of how these pens will write with the fine side and the broad side. Another important thing to know about these pens is that they're filled with water-based non-toxic ink. Now that you know exactly what these pens are, let's go ahead and get started with the 10 ideas of how to use them. The first one is hand lettering for planners and bullet journal. The notebook that I'm going to be using is the Sunbird in Blue from the Everyday Collection, as well as the Snow and Stillness Calliograph set. I love that they have the colors in the back, and as soon as you open the Calliograph set, you also have a set of stickers with the names that you can go ahead and put into the brush pens if you love knowing the name of the color that you're using, which I really do. So that's the first thing I do. The next thing I do is I love to swatch the colors because I love to know how the colors are going to look in my journal. So this is something that I like to do, and I recommend you do it and keep it handy so you know how the colors look. Inside your planner or bullet journal, you can use the broad side of the Calliograph pen for larger titles, like the cover page that I'm doing here in my March bullet journal setup. And then you can also pair large modern calligraphy with block lettering. The block lettering, I like to do it with the fine tip of the Calliograph pen. I only noticed that I did the dot on the I on the wrong side when I was editing the video. Another thing that I love to do is using the theme planning kits to set up my bullet journal. These are perfect because they have coordinating washi tape and stickers to make your life easier when it comes to planning. Now let me show you how you can make the lettering pop up, and that is by adding shadows. One of the ways that I like to make the lettering pop up when I'm adding shadows is by using a contrasting color. I'm going to be using the Winter Berry, which is the darker color for the pink quartz that I use in the title page. Since I don't know how it's going to look, I'm going to try it first in a page from this notepad. I don't want to mess up my cover page since I already added the stickers and everything. So this is a safe zone for me to add the shadow, because if I don't like it, I can always try another color. My go-to way to add shadows to my lettering, and the easiest way I can think of remembering, is to add a line to the right and slightly underneath every part of each letter, just like I'm doing here with the word March. I really love how adding the shadow with this color makes the lettering pop up, and I'm going to show you how to make your lettering stand out even more, and that is by creating 3D lettering. For the 3D lettering, I'm going to be using the same pink quartz for the base lettering, a light gray, and the winter berry. I went ahead and wrote March again on the scrap piece of paper. And now I'm going to be using the light gray broad tip to add the shadow. Again, we're going to be adding the shadow to the right and underneath each part of the letter. This time, make sure you apply pressure because we want the shadow to be white. Then using a monoline pen, you're gonna outline everywhere where you added the shadow, just like I'm doing here. And last but not least, we're going to use the Winterberry fine tip and we're going to go over everywhere that you outlined the shadow. And we're going to add another shadow, and this is how we create the 3D effect. And look how awesome this makes the lettering stand out. I'm going to show you all the things that you can do to your lettering using calligraphs, and that is blending lettering. And for this, I'm using the Starlight from the Night Blooms set and the Solar Flare from the Wonder Sky set. I'm going to be using watercolor paper, and I'm also going to have a scrap piece of paper handy. You can use this blending technique in your bullet journal. Just make sure that it is a thick paper. So for lettering blending, you also want to make sure that you pick colors that are complementary of each other. With these colors, the first word that came to mind is summer. What you want to do is with the lighter color, you're going to start doing the base of your lettering. And for this, I'm also going to do one letter at a time. I recommend you to do the same because we are treating them as watercolor. If you take too long, you won't be able to blend the colors as easily. So once you have the base lettering done, you're going to use the darker color and you're going to start coloring the letter. Right now, I want the bottom part to be darker and then the top part to be lighter. So I'm going to start right there because with the lighter color, I'm going to start grabbing some of the darker color and I'm going to pull it up just like this. And this is how we're going to blend the two colors together. Now the scrap piece of paper is for you to clean the tip of your brush so you can continue doing the blending. Once you have the darker color in the tip of your pen, you want to make sure you clean it so you don't pull all the dark color all the way to the top. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm just going to continue doing the same with each one of the letters. All right, and this is the result. I think it looks so cool. The two colors blend together, and this is how you can use your Calliograph pens to do blending in your lettering and create pieces like this. The next creative idea to use your Calliograph pens is DIY Floral doodle bookmarks. I'm still using watercolor paper and I'm measuring it to cut the bookmarks at 2 by 6 inches. I'm going to be using the Night Blooms Calliograph set for the first bookmark. I went ahead and grabbed the scrap piece of paper and swatched the colors that I wanted to use in the bookmark so I can have them as reference. I'm going to be using the broad tip of the Calliograph pens. The first one is the Midnight Sage, and I'm going to start the floral doodles in the corner of the bookmark. I'm doing this large stem and then stems on the sides to draw the leaves. For the flower, I'm using the Twilight Rose and I'm going to start by doing the center with a bunch of dots, and then the petals are going to be heart-like shape. I'm going to do a total of 5 petals around the dot center. Then I'm going to repeat the same type of doodle right on top of the one that we did. The only difference is that we're going to be drawing this flower facing the opposite direction. To add a little bit more detail to the flowers, I like to go over the petals and outlining them, and I just think that this gives them a little bit more depth. For the next flower doodle, I'm using the Mystic Teal for the greenery part, and for this one, I'm only doing 2 leaves coming directly from the stem, and then the golden amber for the flower. I'm using the same Mystic Teal to add a couple of more greenery around the doodle, and then in the other corner, I'm gonna draw the same type of doodle. And then I'm finishing covering the empty spaces with the midnight sage, and I'm just adding some greenery doodles. To add more details to the second floral doodle that we did, I'm going over with the golden amber, the fine tip, and adding a couple of lines and outlines to give the flower doodles a little bit more detail. This is how our first DIY floral doodle bookmark looks. For the next flower doodle, I'm using the Snow and Stillness Calliograph set. I'm gonna be using the winter green and the green earth. And for this doodle, we're only going to do greenery. This is very similar to the floral doodle that we did before. And what I'm going to be doing is just interchanging both greens around the bookmark to draw this greenery. And as you can see, you can do as many or as little leaves as you want with the greenery. You can leave it like this, but if you like, you can give it a little bit more detail by going over with the fine tip and outlining the floral doodles. I absolutely love how these floral doodle bookmarks turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments. And let's keep the fun going with your calligraph pens with the next creative idea, which is a DIY birthday card. For the DIY birthday card, I'm going to be using this mixed media paper, which is 7 by 10 inches. It's perfect because I'm just going to grab a page from here and fold it in half. The next thing I'm going to be using is the Wonder Skies Calliograph set. I recommend that you always sketch everything in pencil first so that you can make sure that everything fits within the size of your card. The first thing that we're doing is drawing rectangles with each of the colors from the Wonder Skies set. Then with a white gel pen, I'm adding lines and different details to each of the boxes, and this is to sort of recreate a wrapping paper. Then with a fine line pen, we're gonna outline the gift boxes and add more details and doodle little bows to our gift boxes. For the lettering part, I'm using the black calligraph pen, a fine tip, and I'm going to be writing happy in modern calligraphy, and I'm going to be writing one letter on top of each gift box, and this means that I'm going to have to extend the connections between each letter so I can place them each on top of the gift boxes. And I guess I failed to mention at the beginning that is the reason why I decided to do 5 gift boxes so that I can put each letter on top of them. For the birthday, I decided to go with a block lettering. I'm still using the fine part of the Calliograph pen. And you can definitely leave the card like that, but I thought it would be fun to add these little lines with each of the colors around the happy birthday. I think this confetti like doodles, it just adds a lot more fun and makes the card even better. So this is the final result. What do you think? All that is left to do is for you to add a message inside of the card. Now let me tell you how you can make this card even better, and that is by creating an equally awesome envelope art. We're gonna keep the same theme of the birthday card, and we're pretty much gonna replicate what we did. We're gonna start by writing the name, and I'm using the black calligraph pen. For the name, I'm doing thick block lettering, and then the last name I did modern calligraphy, and I decided to thicken the downstrokes a little bit more. And don't worry, the name and the address in this envelope is completely made up. I just wanted to have a good sample to show you. This is exactly how I will do a real birthday card and envelope art decoration. We're going to add the same elements that we did in the card, which are the gifts, and we're gonna decorate them in the same way. This part is completely optional, but I decided to add an outline to the name with the astral blue since I didn't have space to doodle the last gift box that we did in the birthday card. And then we're gonna finish it up with adding the confetti around the address and the name. And so this is the final product. Here's an envelope art idea to coordinate with the floral doodles. This is something that I would do if I were to mail the floral doodle bookmarks. Now let me show you another fun but probably unexpected use of your calligraphs, and that is for highlighting. Honestly, in the past, I was against writing and highlighting books, probably the same as I was afraid of using stickers or a brand new notebook. But I have gotten over that fear, and now I believe that just like beautiful notebooks and stickers are meant to be used, books are also meant to be notated, highlighted, so you can understand them better. I usually like to test the pens in the back just to make sure they're not going to bleed. I also like to choose multiple colors for different things that I'm highlighting, and for this I chose the lime glow and the moonbeam blue. And I also like to add a sticky note so that I can reference back. And the lime glow, I'm going to use it to highlight the meaning of things or the definition, and then the moonbeam blue is going to be for things that I find interesting or things that I want to do a little bit more research. So this, I will keep it in my book because I want to make sure that I can reference back to it, so when I'm reading I know exactly how to use my highlighters. So for example, here as I was reading, I remember that the lime glow is to highlight the meaning, so that's what I'm going to do here. And as you can see, it doesn't bleed through the page. That is why I went ahead and tested them on the back first, because the quality of the paper of the books might be different, so you just want to make sure that it's not going to cause any bleeding through the page. Now I'm going to show you how you can use the Calliograph pens as watercolor. For this, I'm going to be using the pink quartz and the winterberry. I'm going to be using watercolor paper. If you want a thick paper, since we're going to use the pens as watercolor, you're going to need some water and a brush. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to secure my watercolor paper to the desk, because when you use watercolor, the paper is going to start to bend a little bit. Look at this gorgeous washi tape. This washi tape is also from the Snow and Stillness collection from Archer and Olive. So now that I have that secure, I want the top part to be a little bit lighter and then the bottom to be darker. So I'm gonna use the pink quartz first. And the way that I'm gonna do it is I'm going to draw with them. And then you can grab your brush and then start adding the water. And so you're gonna start spreading the color around like that. You can see here how the color starts spreading. Another way that you can use the Calliograph for watercolor is that you can grab a piece of plastic, color in the plastic with the Calliograph pen, and then with the brush you can grab the water and then grab some of the color from the plastic and then use it to paint as watercolor. So that's another way that you can use your Calliograph as watercolors. But I think this way is much better because it's if you were grabbing the watercolors like this. I think I'm done using the lighter color. I'm gonna start using the darker. I clean my piece of plastic. I'm dabbing the darker color in my plastic, and then I'm gonna do the same. Grab some water and then grab some of the color and start using it to paint as watercolor. If you want the color to be a little bit lighter, then add more water, and then if you want it darker, keep more of the color. It just depends on how you want the saturation to be. And then I picked these two colors because I think they do blend together really easily. And so you can just have fun in the way that you're using your Calliograph pens. And you can use them to create really fun watercolor backgrounds or to color with them as if they were watercolor. Okay, now we're gonna let it dry. How cool is the watercolor effect for this background? Now I'm going to show you how to use your Calliograph pens for coloring, and for this you can grab the free printable that I created for you. It will be in the link on the description. The printable has this coloring page as well as the two bookmarks that we make in this tutorial, and for this I'm going to use Attic Treasures set. So what I love about this printable, and I was so excited creating it for you, is that you have this page so you can just go ahead and color, and the other page is for you to trace. I do recommend that you print it in cardstock, which is what I did here, and that's just so the bookmarks are a little bit stronger when you print them, and the coloring page you can use it for decor. I'm using my Archer and Olive paper cutter to cut everything to size. Coloring with the Calliograph pens might be one of my favorites because the broad tip, it helps you with the bigger spaces, and then the fine tip, it helps you with the smaller spaces and also to add details to your coloring. And in case you've never done coloring before, now is a great time to consider it because it's great to help you with stress relief and help you relax. It allows you to unwind and take a break from your busy day. It is a very simple but very soothing activity that can help you calm your mind. It also helps you with improved focus and mindfulness because as you are focusing on each stroke and choice of color, coloring can help you improve your concentration. And coloring can also give you a creativity boost because it gives you the freedom to explore and allows you to experiment with colors and design, and it's a great way to express yourself even if you never consider yourself an artist before. And these are just some of the benefits that I wanted to share with you about coloring, and here is how my final page turned out. I really hope that this video was helpful for you in all the creative projects. If you made it into this part of the video, be sure to comment with a couple of pink hearts, and that will let me know that you are one of the real ones that watched the whole video. And also let me know which of these projects you will be trying which one was your favorite. And if you have used Calliograph pens for other things that I didn't mention here in the video, be sure to let me know. Maybe we can do a part 2 of this video tutorial. Alright friends, thank you so much for spending this time with me, and if you want to keep being creative, be sure to check out all the amazing videos from the creators in the ambassador team. I will see you in the next tutorial.